If Ever I Would Leave You. There were so many standards on our list. So many that I've been singing my whole life, so many that mean so much to me, so many to sift through. They just revealed themselves very quickly, whether or not they were gonna work. Dave was very specific about wanting them to have a depth of content, like meaty lyrics and something sophisticated to say, or a sophisticated way to say it. I could be hell-bent on having a song and we'd sing through it and I'd be like, oh yeah, you're right, it's not gonna work. And I'm not quite sure how this one made the list. There was just something haunting about this song that wouldn't leave either one of us, and it just kept making the cut, and then there we were. I fell in love with the entire arrangement. I thought what Alan did was beautiful and haunting and sad and romantic and nostalgic. My dad, he doesn't share his feelings a lot. You know, I make a lot of music inspired by the stuff I listened to growing up, inspired by music that he and I have shared a love for together. So I always bring it to his feet like a dog with a dead bird. I'm like, look what I did now. And he's like, yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's great. But I never get a lot more than that. And it's always like, well. So I've come not to expect it. You know what I mean? He was in town when I had like rough mixes. He made a comment about like, well, you haven't played anything for me. And I'm like, well, usually you don't want to hear anything until it's done. Well, whatever you want. And I was like, all right, I'm going to take a shower. I'm going to put it on. You enjoy. I came back out and he had just finished listening to If Ever I Would Leave You. And he was clutching his chest and he had tears in his eyes. And he said, it just reminds me of the music my parents played on their record player when I was growing up. And that was the moment that I was like, we did what we set out to do, which was pay homage to this era, and specifically the music that I remember my grandmother playing that was such a huge influence on me growing up. To not have to alter anything about how I sing or deliver or interpret a song, to bring a fresh arrangement to a classic, beloved standard, and still have it move people now today who know the sounds of yesterday. You know, I felt like that was a real benchmark moment for me in all this sort of feeling our way in the dark and trying to hit a moving target and making decisions as we go and just finding our way there. That was a moment where I was like, okay, we accomplished something. And my concern at the beginning was like, I don't want to sacrifice who I am as an artist or a vocalist. I don't want to have to change. And if I'm doing a standards record or if I'm doing this hat tip to big band, I don't want to all of a sudden have to sing like a big band singer. You know, I can be a chameleon like that, be a good mimic and stylistically adapt to what I'm doing. I don't want to change the artist that I am or how I really, which is I think what was special about like Aretha doing big band or any of these artists. You could have them sing any style and they're still going to sing it how they sing. You can give Frank anything and he's still going to be Frank about it. You can give Aretha anything, she's still going to be Aretha about it. You can give Streisand anything, she's still going to sing it like Streisand. So I thought, how can you give Shoshana anything and have her still sing it like Shoshana? Especially with the standards. To do a tune like that and be able to maintain myself and still move someone like my father and make him nostalgic for the music he was raised listening to. I have this cool video from the last day of recording. It was just a Snapchat or an Instagram story. They had already broken down the big room. You know, they had set it up in such a monstrous way to be able to capture the sound the best. We had finished recording, we had gone to dinner, we came back to get our stuff, and they had broken down the room. And our engineer was bouncing the mixes onto my hard drive, and it was playing in the big speakers in the studio. And Dave, my producer, and Alan, the arranger, were leaving. And they were walking through the big room as it was being broken down, and I was in the control room, and the end of If Ever I Would Leave You was playing as they were walking out, and it was such a beautiful exit, and I caught it on film, and a wonderful soundtrack for the end of those 2 days and that whole creation and recording process.